It is my pleasure, on behalf of the Board of Governors and the entire family of St. Clair employees, students, and alumni, to present an honorary degree in social justice and legal studies to Mehari Hagos. Mr. Hagos has been a remarkable, inspirational force in our community for over a decade. His family settled in Windsor after escaping political strife and violence in Eastern Africa. But they did not, he reflects, find an entirely safe and peaceful haven in Canada. His family settled in the low-income Glengarry neighborhood of Windsor, where Mr. Hagos, as a child and teenager, eventually witnessed family members and friends descend into the dark atmospheres of drugs and crime. On the cusp of those potential lifestyles himself, Mr. Hagos found salvation in his pursuits of sports and fitness and through the mentorship he found at the city's YMCA. In his early 20s, as a coach, motivator, personal trainer, youth advocate, he replicated and enhanced and expanded upon that mentorship by founding MH100 Boot Camp, servicing originally his home base in the Glengarry area. MH100 signifies that the preteen and teen members of the after-school organization spend a minimum of 100 days under his tutelage, participating in sports and fitness activities, financial literacy, courses associated with life lessons, and female empowerment exercises. Upon completion of the boot camp, graduates receive a pair of shoes from Mr. Hagos. Athletic shoes or dress shoes, whatever they need to pursue their primary life goals, whether they be athletic, academic, or employment related. Yes, they are real shoes, but more importantly, they symbolize the first steps taken by these young adults on the way to personal success and civic responsibility. Through the revenues of his own fitness training business, government grants, and other financial support, Mr. Hagos and MH100 have, during the past decade, allocated over $1.6 million in scholarships, funding to hundreds of these program participants. Many of them also have won their own athletic and academic scholarships to prestigious post-secondary institutions throughout Canada and the United States. MH100 has become a model for similar grassroots programs in cities throughout Ontario. During the past several years, Mr. Hagos has added a concentration on post-secondary education to his advocacy efforts. He conducts frequent tours of St. Clair College and the University of Windsor for his program participants and encourages them to explore not just athletic amenities, but the academic offerings of the two schools. Even disregarding his promotion of the college, we would be presenting this academic distinction to Mr. Hagos. He is truly a community builder who merits the gratitude of all of his fellow citizens and that of this college and our Board of Governors. When we recommended this recognition to the Board of Governors in November of last year, the only difficulty we had was to pinpoint what discipline his life experience and professional background best represents. But he fits under the umbrella, and there were so many. He fits perhaps under the umbrella of child and youth care. There are certainly elements of fitness management to his mission. We eventually settled on the recommendation of an honorary degree in social justice and legal studies because the end result of his work has been to create a more just, equitable, and opportunity-laden society for those that he assists. Ladies and gentlemen and fellow graduates, please welcome Mehari Hagos as our newest saint at St. Clair College. And there you go, sir.
Wow, thank you so much. 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 Wow, t Thank you so much, Patty. This is all new to me. I haven't worn one of these in a long time, so I feel good in it, and I'm just so thankful for this, and I'm so proud of everybody that's here, all the graduates that are here, and St. Clair College. So she said a lot about me in that whole speech, and basically, I'll tell you guys a little background story about myself. I was born in Eritrea, Ethiopia. There was a lot of war happening at the time. I just remember when I was 5 years old going to school, and we had to leave the school because obviously things were blowing up. I remember my older brothers playing with gunpowder and things like that and bullets. But the only thing I do remember a lot too is my family showed me love. And they're all here today. So my sister, my brother, they all came from Atlanta. Some of my family that are here from Windsor. So if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And even though we were going through war, we're going through a lot of stuff, they always loved me, and they always believed in me. And they used to always be like, man, you were lucky. You used to eat donuts. I'm like, donuts? Like, what? Because now being a personal trainer into fitness, I don't eat donuts. But, it was small things like that. They'd be like, yeah, man, you were lucky. You had shoes. I'm like, what? What do you mean? But eventually, we came to Windsor, Ontario, where we grew up in Glengarry, this small community downtown, and I just, at 11 years old, 12 years old, I was, witnessing a lot of crime. I remember walking home from Bagley, I got beat up by a police officer. He punched me in my face, and I went home and told my mom, and then she slapped me. So I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, man, who do I tell? So it was a really hard growing up in that area, and I remember just me and my brothers playing in like basically laundry mats of these buildings that you don't want to be in, hanging around with friends that were going in the wrong direction and things like that. So eventually, at 18 years old, I'm not proud of it, but in the county jail in Windsor was full of people from my community. They had two sections in county jail, D block and C block, and everybody was from Glengarry, and everybody looked like me. Some of them were my family members. I knew it was wrong. I knew I had to do something. And that's when I met this guy. He's here today. His name is John Elliott. I want to hear it. They call him Pix. My friends were like, hey, go do your community service at Sandwich Teen Action Group. You get to play basketball. I'm like, oh, yeah, I love basketball. So I went there, and he literally put me in the headlock and was like, you got to help your community. He showed me a homework club in St. Joseph's where they had computers, and I'm like, man, I got to do something. One of my friends, Chris Ramakumba, who got a full-ride football scholarship to Duke, went to Pix's after-school program, and he used to come and speak at my program. And I just remember I was so inspired. I wanted a gym, a weight room, and those community hours ended up turning into, he's one of my great friends, a mentor and father figure, and still today we work together. We have an MH100 fitness room at his place, and he's been doing it for 35 years, so he showed me the way, and thank you, Pix. Yeah, after that, went downtown. I didn't know what to do. Just like you guys, I was young. I was, getting beat up by police. My friends was getting into drugs. A lot of crime was happening. I didn't know what to do, but I just started. So whatever you want to do, make sure you just start and never give up. My sister was telling me, man, the city used to make it so hard for you, but you never gave up. That's why I'm right here, and this right here is from my family. My friends, everybody that believed in me and that didn't give up in the whole MH100 movement. So I started the program in 2008, and as Patty was telling you, the reason why I do the shoes for the kids was because when I was in grade 4, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm slipping, I need new shoes. She went to Detroit, bought me shoes. I was so fast on grass, so quick. And in the hallway, it was like click, clack, click, clack. And one of the kids was like, man, you wearing baseball cleats? So she bought me baseball cleats for back to school. And I knew I had them. I'm like, man. She's like, hell, never gonna slip. Then that's when the gym teacher started yelling, man, you better take those off. You scratching the floors. I had to walk home in socks. Yeah, so ever since then, since 2009, for back to school, for Christmas, everybody in the neighborhood gets shoes, brand new Jordans, Nikes, you name it. And that's due to my brother Yahya, who's here. And he would just bag up shoes and clothes. And he was from LA, and he used to bring it to us once a year. And he'd have us feeling so good and fresh. And I want to continue his legacy too, so shout out to my big brother. So started my program with another friend of mine, Tung Bachea, who went to Kansas University, and his father, Dr. Bechea, who used to go to Ghana and build hospitals and build, schools. And I just wanted to do something, so I started the MH100. And a lady named Bonnie Bailey, who believed in me when nobody did. She had blonde hair, but usually people with blonde hair used to just always yell at me. So I was like, man, this lady gonna yell at me, but she didn't. She was there for me. She believed, she fought, and she always used to say, one day they're gonna buy you a van. I'm like, I don't want no van, like what's wrong with her? So what she meant was I was gonna get grants and things like that and help my community, and we went door to door, me and this blonde lady named Bonnie Bailey, and we got all these kids from my community, and my whole goal was for them not to go to jail. But instead of jail, they started getting full ride scholarships. My niece Rebecca got a $100,000 academic scholarship. Munis Tutu, a bunch of kids started going Division I, going to Carleton, winning championships. And I was so proud. Awards and all that stuff is good, but what makes me more proud is just to see kids from my community not go to jail and just to get, not get beat up by police and things like that. So did the program. It's going great. It's going great. In 2011, there was a strike. I went homeless. I had nowhere to go. But guess what? I was still doing that MH100. I was still mentoring kids, and I was still giving back. And I fought back. Shout out to my sister Gannett, living on her couch, stuck on the couch all the time in the summer. And it was, but I fought back. In 2015, they closed Windsor Water World. They took the pool away and they closed it. And I fought and fought and fought, and we kept it open. And I was paying. And as Patty was saying, sometimes I wasn't eating and I didn't have clothes or I couldn't go places, but I would pay for rent and make sure that these kids had a place to go because, again, my goal was for them to be successful, and I didn't want them to go to jail, and I wanted them to just have equal rights, and just be kids, right? So kept going. In 2019, we got a grant, a huge grant from Ontario government to renovate the community center. So we renovated the community center. We put up Martin Luther King on the wall. We put, you name it, Muhammad Ali on the wall, murals. We had the best equipment. Now we went from helping 15, 20 kids to helping 200 kids. And it was booming. Life was great. John Elliott had a whole, picture there, and everything was going great. And then the pandemic hit, and we lost everything. It got turned into H4 Center, which is like a safe injection site, homeless shelter. And I found out with a 9-year-old kid telling me one day, hey, Mehari, I can't go to Mehari's. They used to call it Mehari's. They thought I owned Waterworld. And they'd be like, bro, I can't go to Mehari's to get a drink of water. But they would see, different people going in there that didn't look like them. And it broke my heart. And I didn't know what depression and all that type of stuff was, but I was hurting every day. I said some stuff to the mayor that I shouldn't have, but I was hurting. I was lost. I lost everything. My community center, my job, my life. I've been doing this my whole life. But you know what? With my family and the love they showed me, I opened my house and made my garage into the MH100 gym and made my living room into, a storage room or whatever. And that's when I met a lady named Marla. So shout out to Marla. Yes, sir. And I met Marla Spitaleri and her daughter Mariah, who cared about MH100 more than I did. I'm like, man, are they MH? So they would just fight, and they loved the community, and me and Mariah wrote a whole curriculum for Windsor. Actually, she wrote it for the Windsor Police, and we help the Windsor Police now, working with the community and making sure that they're not beating kids up and things like that, and making sure that kids can be Windsor Police one day, right? So we wanted to make these changes. And Marla's family took me in, John Spitaleri, his brother Mike, and they live in nice. So we eating good over there, and they mentoring me and hooking me up with everything. And Marla was just so devoted. And, every time we have a back-to-school party, her and her friends, Danielle Tullio, Delaney, all her friends would just get a bunch of gift cards together, and we have so much, gifts to give to the kids. When we knew some of the kids were using iPhones or didn't have MacBooks or Chromebooks for school during the pandemic, we would collect that and go door to door. And we would go community center to community center and help kids. And during the pandemic, we showed the kids in Glengarry, even though we had it bad, the people that were homeless or on drugs, they had it worse than us. So we would go out there and give back. Even though we lost everything, we were giving back. So that showed what real character was, and I'm so proud of my community, and I'm here because of my community, and I'm here because I never gave up. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know years later I'm going to be on stage and my family's going to be here and I'm going to be in front of you guys. I literally just started and kept going. And they would just keep closing doors, closing community centers. I would get arrested in my own community and beat up by police and things like that, but I kept going because I knew that I wanted to save the kids from my community and from Windsor. I wanted to make Windsor a better place. And I had this idea with the University of Windsor. They had a CUP, Community University Partnership, in my area where kids would come and do co-op. But when the pandemic happened and when we needed the university, they were not there. They're gone. And when the kids from my community in the West End would go to university, they had to sneak in the St. Denis Center to play basketball and work out. And they would get arrested for sneaking in. Then they would get sent back to the streets where there's gangs and drugs and things like that, right? So I was like, man, that's crazy. How are you kicking kids out of the gym? So we started a thing there now. All the kids from the West End and downtown have free memberships at St. Denis Center, so they don't have to sneak in no more. So, and I just kept saying to myself, I need to make these changes. I found out that Windsor firefighters, there's only one guy that looks like me on the, I'm like, man, what? It's 2024. How come kids are not becoming firefighters and things like that? So I want to make changes. I want to make Windsor a better place. And I was telling this story because I'm so passionate about it to this guy named David Mougier who was standing like this and I thought hated me, but he went and told Patty. And I got a call one day. She said, hey, this Patty France. I was like, who? And she said, I heard what you want to do. I want to help you. And Patty, she's a visionary. She sees that she wants to make Windsor a better place. She wants to make St. Clair a better place. And at the university, everybody would overlook us. People didn't see us. She's seen us. I see you. I know you're going to be successful. So anytime you want to give up, as the MH100 saying is, if you don't grind, you don't shine, all right? So make sure you keep going. Make sure you keep grinding. And just whenever things close, don't find another door. You have to knock that door down. All right? You got to go through it, do what you got to do. As she was saying it earlier, for years, I would see garbage on the ground. I'll pick it up. Before Instagram, before TikTok, I would go help people and give things to people. It's stuff I was doing when nobody was looking. And now everybody's looking. Right? Everybody sees it now, right? So for years, I would do things nobody knew about. I gave away so much shoes and clothes and my time and my life for my community. And I'm so thankful for my community. And my mom, who passed away 2 years ago, would be so proud. And now every year for back to school, we do it in her name. Because 2 years ago for back to school, the day we were doing the backpack giveaway, she passed away. So instead of not doing it, a week later, we did it big, you know, with the team. And I wouldn't be here without the MH100 team, without my family. I wouldn't be here without my community. The kids in my community, they give me inspiration. So find inspiration, whatever it is to you, and just keep going, keep going, keep going. You never know. One day you might be on stage at St. Clair, you know what I'm saying? So you never know. I'm so thankful for St. Clair. Now we have over 20 kids at St. Clair, 3 kids on the basketball team. Their basketball team is doing great. Their football team, and our whole community goes and watches them. So where do you think these kids are going to be in the future, right? So I'm so thankful for Patty. I'm thankful for St. Clair. Everybody here on stage. One of my best friends, Jim Marsh, up there. Shout out to Jim. And Jim is everything about St. Clair because when I met him, he didn't overlook me. He just treated me so kind. He was so nice. Then a few months later, I found out Jim Marsh that dude, you know? So I'm like, okay, Jim. But we became great friends, and we talk all the time, and he's now one of my mentors, and also Mike Berkovich, who mentored me out through my whole life. And again, find some mentors, be kind, give back. It's what you do when no one's looking that's going to make you great. And I'm proud of everybody that's here, and I'm thankful for everybody that's here. And Aki, thank you for coming. Y'all dressed, you guys looking great. My family up there, the kids from MH100. And again, if you don't grind, you don't shine.